Many words. You can call it your base, you can call it your blueprint, you can call it your system. But I can tell you guys this, how many can relate? Most entrepreneurs or business owners are motivated without a foundation. They're excited, don't get me wrong. They know that they want this, they just don't know what to do. And then we read every book, we go to every seminar possible, waiting for that next fix, right? I think like seminars is kind of like a church with products. You know what the word seminar means? It means seed plant. It's just to plant seeds. That's the only point of it. It's to plant seeds. To get you onto the next level, right? By the time you know it, you're in the Bahamas spending like 20 grand because you're going to get to meet, Bob Proctor. Woo! Bob Proctor, I can meet him. Is that going to help you unless you actually have a one-on-one conversation with him? I went to many seminars, guys. The world's greatest marketing seminars, one of the seminars I went to. I went up to the guy and asked him a quick question. I paid $2,000. I thought maybe it would be okay if I can ask a question. Can I ask a damn question? If you guys come up to me and ask me a question, I will answer the question. I won't say, yeah, we're going to talk about it in the next section. Get away from me. And then get out of my room, right? That's how he kind of treated me. And I said, okay, fine. Went up to him, asked him a question. We're going to do the next segment. Bye. I paid $2,000 for what? They were doing waves. Don't get me wrong. We were having a good time. We did waves. We were high-fiving. I met a girl that spent $5,000 on a marketing, on an internet boot camp. And you know what she told me? I said, so what did you learn? She said, that's her response usually, what people say. What did you learn? And then I said, so what did you get out of it? I met some great people. For $5,000, I'll be your friend for a weekend. Anybody be my friend for $5,000 for a weekend? I met great people. Really? That's it? All right. So, you guys can tell that I'm a little bit passionate against the seminar world because I do feel like when I was looking for answers, because I've had my hardship, I was looking for answers, spending lots of money looking for an answer, and there wasn't any. There weren't any. A lot of great information, a lot of feeling good, but it didn't relate to what I needed was a coach and trainer. I remember I met a guy, he spent $10,000 on this one training, and I said, wouldn't it have made more sense to get a personal coach? That money you spent, you could have hired somebody every month to work with you. You could have done that. I didn't think like that. I know because you were sold in the hype. You were excited, right? We get excited. We get motivated. But then we got to realize, once I can teach you guys foundation today, you will know in seconds whether that's a good plan for you. Is that okay if I do that for you? When you look at something, you'll say, nope, that ain't going to work for me. Yes, it's going to work for me. Successful people know how to make decisions. We did this at our last seminar. What is the term that we use at our company? How many guys have people that make you mad? Anybody? Prospects make you mad? People that you've recruited made you mad? People that you thought were going to be great team members? Did they piss you off a little bit? Right? Because they don't have the ability to do one thing, and that's make a decision. I want people around me that can make decisions. At the end of the day, I'm going to offer you guys a couple of different things. Some of you guys may want to be a coach. Some of you guys came here because you wanted to be a coach. Some of you guys wanted to just see what this was about. What the hell is this about? Some of you guys actually came because you're like, I'm looking for somewhere to train, coach with, work with. Some of you guys came for that reason. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when this day's over, please do me a favor. Don't make me mad and just make a decision. We got that? I don't want to hear, yeah. Do you guys ever realize in sales we become counselors? You guys ever notice that? When you're trying to sell somebody, they tell you everything. Like their most inner secrets. Well, I don't even know right now. My wife's, she's crazy and it's not working out for us. Like, what does that have to do if you want to sign up or not? I don't understand that. Because they're trying to feed off your sympathy. And one thing that we don't have at OIM is we don't have sympathy. We have empathy. We'll hear you, but get over it. Move on, move forward. We've all had problems. We all have been through some things. And the reason why sometimes I have like this edgy, arrogant attitude sometimes, because if you knew where I really had to come from, you wouldn't even whine about half the stuff that you talk about. Get what I'm saying? It's not that bad. It's not as bad as you always think it is. All right, so let's go back. I'll tell you really quick my story. But I love that. When I learned that, motivation without foundation leads to frustration. But you know what? In many cases, desperation. You'll try anything because you just want to win, which is good. That's good. You want to succeed. But you guys got to learn foundation. If you can learn foundation, you will know what tools you'll need to succeed in your business. Does that make sense? You might be lacking sales, you might be lacking marketing, you may be lacking systems, you may be lacking team building, you may be lacking leadership, but I can tell you this, what I've learned from all the businesses that I've built and all the people I've ever coached and worked with, the number one skill that they lacked was leadership. They didn't know what to do with them once they got them in. They didn't know where they're going. They didn't know how to move them. They didn't know how to get rid of someone fast enough, right? They have this slogan that they use in business. It's called hire slow, fire fast. There's been people that came up here, spoke for this event. They were fired after the event. Like, you're done. Because when you know where you're going, you know your foundation, you know who fits and who doesn't fit. You'll know in the first couple of minutes. Yep, yep. Nope, sorry, bye. No, not going to happen. Just you'll know it. You'll know it because you've made a decision. You have a mission, right? You guys look at the OYM University. How many of you guys have a mission? How many of you guys are willing to just fight for that mission, or do you not have one yet? Have you really thought about what's the purpose of what you do? What do you really do? And don't let anybody get in the way. And if they do, what do you do with them? You cut them off. What about if it's family? Write this down. Have an SOS. What does SOS stand for? Help me. But what does it really stand for? Submission? Are we wrestling? No. Seasons of separation. Seasons of separation. That means you have to separate from family, friends, the closest people to you, because they're probably the ones causing the most damage and wasting most of your time. If you're not willing to do that, I can tell you this for a fact, you'll never be a millionaire. If you're not already. But I know no one's in the room is a millionaire. You won't, because you're not able to cut people out of your life that are damaging to you. I've seen so many great talent, great people. People always are the problem. People are the problem why you can't build a business, because you don't know how to deal with people, right? You don't know how to work with them, you don't know how to cut them off, you don't know how to talk to them, you don't know how to lead them, you don't know how to motivate them, you don't know how to hold them accountable. You just kind of, I don't know what to do. Let's just let everything be chaos, right? All right, so let's go back to, I'll tell you guys real quick, a snapshot of my life. At 2 years old, I have a problem with men, just so you guys know that. Women, I love women. Men, they know everything. How many women can relate? Yeah. Can I get a high five, amen on that one? How many of you guys know men know everything? Yeah. How many of you guys know that we won't even stop for directions? We'll buy a GPS system. Forget that. I don't got time. I like working with men because they don't cry when I tell them off. But men always they're not willing to submit. Just stop. If you're already where you're at, you already were going to be where you're at, then you'd already be there, right? If you already knew everything. And everybody has a problem with these 3 letters. It's the most dangerous letters for being an entrepreneur. I-K-T. Anybody know what that is? I know that. Some of the stuff I'm going to say today, you're going to be in your head. I know that. I've heard that. What are you doing with it? Right? Implementation. Right? Implementation. You can know anything, but have you implemented it? And then document it and say, that didn't work, this worked. Calling people. Do you videotape yourself? Do you record your calls? Do you look at the way you talk? Or do you kind of just keep winging it and see what happens? I have a system. You got to know the numbers. You got to know every person I talk to. Here's how many get closed. Here's what the demographics are. This is what I mostly work with. This is what I work better with. This is all part of business. No one does that stuff. They kind of just, we'll see whoever has a wallet. I'll take them. What do we call that? Pulse and wallet? When you start off, it's okay to do that. As you progress, you start to pick and choose who you want to work with. It's a beautiful thing. It causes freedom. You know, even in our university, you can actually enroll for the whole year only after you've been approved. What does that mean? That means you can't even pay for the whole year unless you've been approved, because we want to do it on a monthly, so in case we want to get rid of you at any time, we can cut you off. No one does that in the industry, I'll tell you that right now. Because you are a reflection of our training. Does that make sense? So at 2 years old, I basically lived in Bensonville, Illinois with my mom and my dad before he left. And this, you guys remember those old school refreshers, whatever you call those? They used to put them on the wall, the stick on the wall, and they make your house fresh. Well, at 2 years old, the landlord came into our house to do an inspection, and he grabbed it off the wall and he threw it in the garbage, right? So I'm 2 years old. I took it back out of the garbage and I stuck it back on the wall. And what he did is he came up to me and he squeezed my ear. And of course, what would a 2-year-old do if you squeeze his ear? Laugh. Cry his freaking head off. And guess who's the one that came to my defense? My dad or my mom? My mom was gonna freaking ninja kill this guy. My dad just like, calm down. What? All right, anybody that's a man in here have a child? Raise your hand. Would you have knocked that guy out? Yes or no? Hell yeah. He didn't. He was telling my mom to calm down. There's some times where we can go mentally insane and it's okay. Just knock that guy out for what he did to your 2-year-old son. And I get to, for my first experience of this is what a male represents, right? My mom was more of a man in my family than my dad was. I would just say that. And I'm okay fronting him out. My brother's here. All right, so at 5 years later, at 7 years old, that's when my dad left. I was in 2nd grade. So he just took off because I'll say it, and they don't like when I say it, but he loved women more than he loved his family. So he's gone. So now at 12 years old, now that my mom's frustrated because she can't barely make it, and she's just struggling on welfare and food stamps and all that, and he barely comes by and gives her money anytime. At 12 years old, she's so frustrated because I'm starting to look like him, she starts yelling at me all the time and goes nuts on me. Sometimes she'd think I was my dad. She was drinking. My mom's not a drinker anymore. But at that time, she would throw glasses at me and stuff like that, and just insane, because she thought I was my dad. She said, you look like your dad. You're just like your dad. You're a bastard, whatever, and swear at me and then throw stuff at me. Until one day, I actually stopped her from doing it and grabbed her arm and said, you're not going to hit me anymore. And then she did what any sane mother would do, right? Call the cops. And have me arrested for domestic battery. Me? What did I? You were attacking me, right? We had a conversation until 2 in the morning about this. She's like, you weren't 12, you were 14. Does it make a difference? I remember I was 12. And then the police officers that arrested me, they had fun. They took me into an alley, right, and talking shit and threatening me. And what is a 12-year-old going to do? 2 cops are threatening that they're going to beat me up and throw me in an alley and leave me there, whatever. Scared as hell, right? At 14, you guys, I joined a street gang. At 17, I went to jail for 2 months. And I finally, after probably 5 more years, I finally said I want to do something with my life. And that's when I became an entrepreneur. You know why I love being an entrepreneur, guys? And you guys can write this down. What's the